Do you identify as an introverted person? Someone who really likes to spend time with themselves? If you do, you might also be struggling to feel confident, especially in social situations. As an introvert myself, I know that I struggle because when I imagine a confident guy, I see, this guy from high school. He that was always surrounded by the whole group of people, entertaining, telling stories, and of course, that was the guy that all the girls liked as well. I often felt insecure in social situations. I remember standing outside of that group, watching the confident guy, wishing I could be more like him. Why was being social so effortless for him, but so hard for me? Was it just a difference in how we were made? Is confidence just a personality trait? I am somewhat grown up now. I'm definitely more confident than when I was a teenager. But I still don't really like to be in the center of attention at a party or on a stage or whatever. I have never really enjoyed the center of attention in that way. But at the same time, when I look back at my experiences, I can see other situations where I have been incredibly confident. Just not in the same way as I imagined what a confident person is like when I was a teenager. So maybe the way I defined confidence as a teenager was completely wrong and made me feel more insecure than I should have been, and that was fair. When I was 16, I found a huge passion for playing online poker. I started with just $30, but I quickly started to winning, and when I was 19 years old, I had made over $100,000 from playing online poker. Just imagine how much money that must have felt like for someone that was 19. I remember a friend asked me in school, "Why, you made so much money, what are you gonna buy for it?" And I thought to myself, are you crazy? This money is not made for buying stuff. I'm going to use this money to play more poker, to play on higher stakes, to challenge more difficult players. But then something very challenging happened. I got into my first big downswing. And a downswing is poker. It's a long period of bad luck. And this is just a natural part of a game where there's a lot of luck involved. Every poker player has downswings, periods where they just lose and lose and lose, and it can last for months or maybe years. And this was the first time I experienced this as a 19-year-old. And in just 3 months, my bankroll of $100,000 shrunk and shrunk and shrunk until I had only 20,000 left. And of course, 20,000, it's a lot of money. But can you imagine what it felt like from a 19-year-old to lose $80,000? And I thought I would lose everything. The experience of being in my first downswing was horrifying. I had no experience of turning this kind of downswing around. I was convinced I was gonna lose everything. I had made the money a part of my identity. What was my friends going to say? And I had lost for 3 months straight. And at one point I had 28 losing days in a row, even though I was convinced I was playing better than my opponents. And the hardest part was to look myself in the mirror in the morning before starting a new session and trying to convince myself that today is going to be different. Today it's going to turn around. Only to sit down on my computer and the first thing that would happen is that I would lose a big hand. I had panic. I had voices in my head constantly telling me that you are going to lose everything if you continue. I was out in the forest here where I live and I was screaming and I was hitting on trees. I couldn't understand why this was happening to me. The hardest part is that I had no one to speak to about this. None of my friends would understand. I didn't dare to tell my parents how difficult this was because they were already worried about me playing poker. So I had only myself. Every time I played, I had a burning sensation of panic in my body, which of course just made the whole situation worse, because in poker you need to stay calm and make smart and logical decisions. My friends told me just quit and save the $20,000 that you have left. But before I tell you what happened, I want to go back to one of the first questions I asked. Is confidence a personality trait? Because as a teenager, I imagined confidence being that guy who was comfortable being the center of attention, right? But now that I'm older, I know a lot of extroverted people who are actually deeply, deeply insecure. And I know a lot of introverted people who have a strong belief in themselves, their skills, and their abilities. So I have made a new definition of confidence that I find really helpful, which is, how often do you go after what you really want, despite your doubts and fears? Again, how often do you go after what you really want, despite your doubts and fears? With this new definition, I can see that I was extremely confident in my 20s, in my skills and abilities. I was determined to get out of that downswing, regardless of the pain it cost me in the moment or the risk of losing it all. I gave everything I had for several months after this experience, and I managed to win back everything I lost. And for my poker career, I managed to win over $1 million in total, something that would have never happened if I would have stopped when things were at its toughest. I have learned a lot from this experience. Going against my fear and my doubts and turning my luck around have given me a lot more confidence in my own abilities. So let's go back again to the question. Is confidence a personality trait? To me, it's not about being extroverted or introverted. Confidence is a muscle. You train it. And hey, I struggle still with confidence quite often. I have days when I wake up and I don't really feel like going against my fears, or I just doubt myself. But that's fine, because every time you go against that feeling, you strengthen your willpower. So I hope after hearing this video that you also change your definition of what confidence is. Because I think it's really unfair if you, as a more introverted personality, is doing confident things all the time, but you don't give yourself credit for it. Please give yourself credit. So what is the next step from here? Well, ask yourself this question. What is missing? What is missing for you to step into your full power, to become the truly best version of yourself, to unlock all that stuff that is holding you back? Well, if you're unsure of what is missing, maybe I can help. Because I love helping men stop all the overthinking so they can find their passion and build up the confidence to go for the life I know they really dream of. And if this sounds interesting to you, check out my Unlock Your Potential coaching packages. You can find them on whatmissing.com, and the link to that is in the description. And hey, I see you in the next video.